Today's channel is the Duality of Now. The Duality of Now. I won't explain it more than that. I'll just let the channel get underway. I had some dreams last night, and it seems this is what I was inspired the channel on. So, the Duality of Now. Greetings and thank you for the question. The Duality of Now. What does it mean, and what does it infer? Let us start by defining what is meant by the Duality of Now. There is the moment of now, which has come under much greater appreciation in the human field in recent years due to the work of some great teachers in the human field, such as Eckhart Tolle. These teachings point to the significance of being present in the moment, rather than filling the moment with the noise of the mind. This is of particular importance for you to be who you truly are in the moment. The capacity to be authentic is very closely linked to you being present in the moment of now. So, before we speak of the duality of now, this other now that forms the duality, let us talk about and explain how authenticity is linked to the moment of now. You are not the avatar, the mind, the body, the personality. These are tools or an apparatus which is available to you so that the true you can integrate into physical experience and fulfill a divine purpose, which is to know thyself through experience. The true you is, of course, the one. Because there is only one. Everything is the one. But the one, for the purpose of experiencing itself, individuated itself infinitely, and you are one of those individuations. So, in the most fundamental definition of this individuation of the one which you are, is the higher self. It is the infinite, immortal, invulnerable, energetic. And as the apparatus is not you, but just an avatar, which is temporarily representing you in this current life cycle, during this current physical experience, then there is a feed of this high self energetic that you are into the body. So it could be said that you are real-time streaming into the body. You are downloading into the body for every waking moment. Another way to put this is that you are channeling yourself. So the avatar is acting like an antenna, and the true you, which is the non-physical being, the infinite, immortal, invulnerable, energetic individuation of the one, is download, real-time streaming into the body. One of the presentations of the human being is to be very identified with the mind. However, the mind is not you. The mind is a organic artificial intelligence. It is a tool which is there to facilitate the desires of who you truly are, which is the highest self. So it is not intended to be at the highest point of reverence in the hierarchy of identity. Meaning, it is not intended that the mind is making the decisions about what you do, who you are, how you behave, what you believe. This is not the intention of the apparatus. In an awakened state, you would be present in the avatar as the highest self, and the mind would function as a tool which serves you. So, it is the servant to the higher self master. This is the intended design. When the mind elevates itself to the highest point of reference in the identity, it curates and caches the flow of who you truly are. So, you are flowing into the apparatus at all times while you're in a awakened state. And the mind, when it is misused and you have allowed it to become the basis of your identity, it is untrusting of inspiration. And your inspiration is literally the download of who you truly are. And so you will have a moment-to-moment inspiration to say this, to do that, to react in this way. But the mind is very concerned about how it appears, about what it sounds like, about what people are thinking of it. And so, when we say thinking of it, this is within the dynamic where it has assumed identity. So the mind has assumed the identity that it is who you are. You are the mind. You are the avatar. And so it is very concerned because it is a finite intellect with no capacity for extra-dimensional awareness, and also it is aware that it is mortal, then it is always in a process of protection, of guarding, of making sure that no injury is incurred. And that is injury of any kind, including embarrassment, humiliation. So, when the download feed of the highest self is coming into the body and it is felt as inspiration, it's felt as what you want to say, but the mind will interfere and it will cache the download flow. And so it will cache it in the mind and then it will curate it. Don't say that. Don't sit that way. Don't react that way. Don't do what you feel you are inspired to do. In other words, don't be spontaneous. So, when you are not spontaneous, the moment is filled with an inauthentic presence. It is filled with a synthetic version of who you truly are. Because the presence which you are pouring into the moment is a delayed synthetic signal originating from the mind. You are receiving the inspiration of the higher self into the moment. You feel you are inspired to say things, but you don't say them. You change what you were going to say. You sit in a different way. You unbutton one button. You wrap your scarf. You do all kinds of things because you're always calculating what is occurring on the outside and how it is perceived. But true authenticity is being instantaneous, is being spontaneous. The intention of the design of the apparatus and the way that it links with the higher self is that the higher self download stream is instantaneously emanated into the moment. And so your presence, which fills the moment, is literally a very pure emanation of the higher self inspiration, because it hasn't been diverted to the mind where it is cached and then curated and then later emanated as a delayed synthetic signal. So, this is the importance of being in the now, so that you can be a being of maximum authenticity. Before we continue on to this duality of now, let us wrap this first part up by saying, trust the download stream. Trust your inspiration. Be brave enough to be spontaneous. Instantaneously emanate the download stream, because it is authentically you. And the higher self has a different perspective. The higher self exists outside of time, and so it can see much more than the mind can. It is aware of the future, the past, the present. It is aware of deep wisdoms, profound truths. It is aware of synchronicity, it is aware of the perfection of life. And so it is a much more qualified arbiter of the moment. And it is giving you inspiration that is perfectly synchronized and calibrated to the moment. But the mind is just a finite intellect. It does not have the capacity to be aware of anything which is beyond the sense dimensions. You are able to entertain concepts which are intangible, such as the concept of the One, your Creator. But this is because that is coming from the highest self-download stream. And the mind has accepted it as truth. But it does not originate from the mind, because the mind is a finite tool without extra-dimensional awareness. You will be a more synchronistic, wise, and highly functioning individual if you trust the download stream and allow yourself to be instantaneous in the moment. So as a practice, we suggest, when you are having conversations with people that you know, say what you are inspired to say. Don't hold back. Don't have a thought of inspiration come to you and then inhibit it and cast it aside. Instead, just say it. Now, in the beginning, this will feel a little crazy, and it will feel a little scary, because you will be saying things which you would feel are inappropriate. I shouldn't say that. So begin this practice with people who you are comfortable around and see what happens. What you will find is that you will be received with a greater sense of appreciation for your dynamic nature, for your capacity for truth, for your integrity. So, speaking now of the duality of now, the second now. There is the moment of now which you are aware of. And there is only the one moment, all existing simultaneously. And the concept of linear time is just differing perspectives of this one moment. What you may not be aware of is that there is a divine now, which precedes the now of your experience. Let us illustrate it in this way. When the moment occurs, it occurs, and then the sounds travel to your ears, the light travels to your eyes, the sensations of all kinds travel through your nerve endings, arrive at your brain, and then they are processed into an extrapolation of what the moment is. So you can see your perception of the now and the actual creation of the now are two different moments. The now spontaneously occurs, and then an infinitesimally small time later, you experience the now. And this is the duality of now. There are two nows. It could be said that the first now is the now of the one, the now of the Creator. And the second now is the now of the individuations of the one. So there is a duality, two nows, and there is a gap between them. So let us speak about the characteristics of this dual now and what it infers, what can be taken from it, how can this understanding be useful. The gap between the two nows could be thought of as a faith bridge. In this very, very small gap lay the most profound power for manifestation. If you can have faith, which is substantial, to span this bridge between the Creator's now, and your now, then you will have an enhanced capacity to manifest what it is that you desire in your life. So, the Creator's moment, the One's moment, has appeared, and yet, even though it has appeared, you have faith that when it becomes integrated into your now, so you have awareness of it, that it will be what you desire it to be. The more authentic that you can be as a human being, the more high self-mastery, so that you are in the moment authentically as yourself, then the smaller this gap between the moments of now become, and the more powerfully you can manifest the desired reality. As you become elevated in your consciousness, and so you go through the layers of density. So right now, humanity finds itself in third density, and then there will be an ascension event, and there will be fourth density, and eventually an ascension event, and fifth density. And this is occurring in the concept of linear time over millions of years. Although the ascension to fourth density is very close. This ascension mechanism is an expansion of your awareness of who you truly are, because it is the journey back to realizing that you are in fact the One, which is the One's very purpose for all of its individuations to become fully realized that they are in fact the One, and then the One will know itself to completion through experience, and divine purpose will have been fulfilled. And so your journey back to this ultimate realization that you are the One, which is the culmination of the divine purpose, is an incremental expansion of your self-identity as larger and larger and larger and larger and larger beings, until ultimately realizing you are the ultimate being, the One. As you go through this process and you are elevating incrementally through the energetic spectrum back to the One, the gap between the two nows becomes less and less and less and less and less, until ultimately, when you have self-realized as the One, then you will be in the Creator's moment, and the duality of now will cease to be relevant to you, because you will have fully coalesced back into the One, and you will be in that one moment, and then you will be the Creator with the capacity to create. Because while there is this gap between the two moments of now, you are a manifester and not a creator. And let us explain this way. The One created the all. And also, the One has created every perspective of the now. They all pre-exist. Similar to how the video game, every move, every scenario, every experience you can have in the game are pre-coded into the game. Those events, those happenings, those dynamics can only occur because they pre-exist. Even though they may have not occurred before, the potential for them to occur in the way that they have is because they have been pre-coded into the game in a very similar way. All of the experiences that you have, that you desire, that you don't have, that could have had, all of these are pre-existing simultaneously. And so you are a being of perception, not a being of creation. You perceive or manifest that which you have a vibratory synchronicity with. So, your vibration that you are emanating into the physical field from the apparatus is bringing to you physical experience which are harmonic, which are aligned, which are resonant with your vibration. And they all pre-exist. And for every moment you experience, there is an infinite number of alternative moments that could have occurred. But you experience or perceive the version of that moment which was most highly resonant with your energetic expression, with your vibration. The more you are authentic in the moment, then as the higher self, then the closer is this gap. You can see, if you are not authentically present in the moment as the higher self, and instead have identified very deeply with the avatar, and you have given the mind the place of ultimate reverence, highest reverence in your identity, then the mind will do what it does, which is to cache the download stream of the highest self, the inspiration, curate it, and then later emanate a delayed signal. So you can see there is a lag to the moment of now. You have the creator's now, you have your now, and because you are being inauthentic, because you are using this process of mind dominance, then you are emanating a lag which has effectively increased the gap between the creator's now and your now. And so, as you move away from the creator's now, your capacity to manifest decreases. So, as there are layers of synthetic reality layered over the top, then there is an increasing diminishment of your capacity to manifest the life that you want. So, people who are very mind dominant, extremely neurotic, full of many of the ailments of being mind dominant, which is neurotic, despondent, worried, cautious, anxious. The amount of mental machination is so extreme that their signal into the moment is getting further and further and further and further and further and further delayed, stretching this gap between the two moments of now. And so their effectiveness in life becomes increasingly diminished. Increasingly, their life takes on the appearance of something that they don't want. Here's an example of how this can occur. Somebody who is very mind dominant will be in a conversation, and when they're in that conversation, one of the people in the conversation will say something or react in a certain way, and this will become part of this mental turning over in the person who is very mind dominant. And so maybe 3 minutes later in the conversation, they will say something or react in a way which is reflective of what occurred 3 minutes ago, because they have taken those 3 minutes to mentally process over and over and over and over and over during this curation of the cached feed before they give their reaction or their input, which is reactive to what occurred 3 minutes ago. And so they are so far behind the moment that you can see this is making them very ineffective, because they are very inefficient with the use of the apparatus. And such a person, as you would expect, would be neurotic, confused, anxious, possibly despondent. And with all of these energetic qualities integrated into their vibration, it is unlikely they are going to create the life that they wish to create. However, we use create erroneously there because they are manifesting. They are perceiving from the infinite number of available scenarios for every single moment. However, somebody who is very authentically themselves, because they trust the highest self stream and they allow themselves to pour instantaneously into the moment as unadulterated highest self presence. This is a very narrowing of the gap. And as they narrow the gap, it becomes much more possible for them to manifest the life that they want. The highest self stream is a individuation of the energy of the one, because that's what you are. And so the one is love and its derivatives. The one is abundance, peace, gratitude, love, bliss, joy, happiness. These are the characteristics of the one. And as you are an individuation of the one, then these are what you are also. You are not hate, anger, despondency, depression, sadness. These are not you. You experience those only when you have a confusion about who you are, because you arise from the one. You are built from the same substance that the one is. And in the lexicon of human emotion, the one is love and its derivatives. So, when you are allowing yourself to flow into the moment, and by yourself we mean the higher self, because this is who you truly are. The avatar is not you. The avatar is just a temporary apparatus. So when you allow yourself to flow into the moment and emanate instantaneously as your presence, then you are emanating the qualities of the one, because this is what your pure substance is. You'll be emanating into the moment love and its derivatives, and they will be integrated with abundance. So your vibratory quality will be much more conducive to manifesting the reality that you desire. So let us conclude in this way. If you look about your life and it doesn't look like what you want it to look like, if you have things in your life that you feel make you unhappy, or that you feel are inhibiting your chances of experiencing a moment-to-moment emotionality which will be fulfilling, then take a look at the gap between your moments of now. If the gap is big between the creator's now and your now, then examine why that is. Are you being authentic to yourself? Are you spending the moments of your life doing what you feel is in your heart to do? Or are you a slave to something which has no inspiration, has no passion for you, and so you're not driven by the inner juice, the inner energy which is flowing from the higher self? Because the higher self has no interest in that, because it is not aligned with your true essence, then it becomes a robotic continuation of the motions controlled by the mind. Because the higher self has no interest in it. The higher self has no passion for it. And therefore, it becomes the responsibility of the apparatus to achieve this over and over perpetual, moment to moment, day after day objective. What can you do to decrease this gap? Because if the apparatus becomes responsible for the day-to-day drudgery of doing what it is that you do as an occupation, then you can see that you would not be authentically in the moment very often. Because you have handed over to the apparatus, so the apparatus, just in a robotic way, gets the job done, because your high self has no inspiration, has no passion, no calling to be in that moment as it is being experienced, because what you are doing is in no way aligned with the passion of who you are. And so during those hours employed in your vocation, you are inauthentic. You are just the mind and the body as the avatar going through the machinations to get it done so that you can receive the paycheck at the end of the day. So you can see with this scenario, there is a large gap. The duality of now is spread. And so the faith bridge is much bigger than it needs to be. And as you are so far from the Creator's now, it becomes more difficult for you to manifest your desires. As a remedy, find a way to fill your days with something which is so aligned with the higher self that the higher self is drawn into the moment. The higher self gives its passion to every moment because there is such a synchronicity. There is a passionate alignment between what you do and the higher self. And so you are in the moment as the higher self. The mind is to the side, and you are authentically emanating into your moments as a purified version of who you truly are. The infinite, immortal, invulnerable higher self. Then this is a narrowing of the gap. And the vibratory quality that you pour into the moment will be reflective of the one, which is love and its derivatives. And as you manifest into your perception a reality which is vibratorily resonant with your own vibration, then you can see your life will begin to become a manifestation, a physical metaphor of love and its derivatives. Because this is how it works. Your physical experience is a physical metaphor of your vibration. The vibration, the energetic signature that you maintain, which includes your focus, is creating your reality. So your reality is feedback data on your vibration, which includes your focus, for the purpose of you calibrating to become more aligned with who you truly are, which is to know thyself, the fulfilling of divine purpose. So if you can be authentically present in the moment as the highest self, which is an individuation of the one being made from love and its derivatives, then your physical metaphor, which you are getting back as the feedback data of who you are being, will be a physical reality which is very imbued with the qualities of love and its derivatives. Will come in a shape and a form which is very conducive to you experiencing within self love and its derivatives. And you can see, if you are living a reality where it is filled with love and its derivatives, and you are conducive to you experiencing these emotions, then clearly it is something that you desire. It is something which is closely aligned with what you would like your life to be. So, consider this concept. Be more spontaneous. Trust the download real-time stream of the highest self. Don't inhibit. Trust your inspiration. And be authentically you, instantaneously, in every moment of your life, as best as you can. Thank you. We love you.